200 pounds of bread would make a massive difference in the lives of thousands of families struggling to put food on the table. Yet, this bread was being thrown out. I know I keep bread for more than one day in my home, but one day can be one day too many for a lot of stores. 10 years ago, I was asked to pick up 200 pounds of bread from a local bakery. I squeezed 40 full-size bags of bread into my Honda Civic. We took the bread to an emergency shelter where it fed 3,000 people. And this experience completely changed my life. I started to think about how we could mobilize people across our city to visit the hundreds of stores that were throwing out perfectly good food every day because I knew there were people that could use it. Now, I was a new entrepreneur at the time working out of coffee shops. I would always ask if they could donate the food that they weren't going to sell. When I would grocery shop, I was relentless. I would ask if they could donate the food if I came back at closing time. Fast forward, a decade later, I grew a charitable foundation that is one of the largest food rescue charities in Canada. What started with 200 pounds of bread has become more than 2 million pounds of rescued food. Now, I, of course, did not do this alone. I'm proud of this team who have helped thousands of people over the last 10 years and continue to do so without me. Picking up excess from restaurants, grocery stores, and bakeries, and even movie sets here in Calgary. You may have seen our door stickers at some of your favorite local grocers and coffee shops. But what I know today is that bread alone and my very trusty Honda Civic will not feed the thousands and thousands of people who go to bed hungry every night across North America. Let's think back to the Great Depression. Families struggled to put food on the table, and soup kitchens were started to support those in need. This is Mabel Broom from Atlanta, Georgia. She was deeply concerned about the hungry people she saw in her community and started a soup kitchen out of her home to try to address the issue. Mabel Broom's soup kitchen became a beloved institution over time. Now, take a look at these images. They are almost 100 years apart, 1929 and 2022. But in many ways, the ecosystem of helping people, helping families who are food insecure, has not changed. How can we expect to solve a complex issue with simple solutions? We can't. We are largely still using 20th century ideas to solve 21st century problems. Problems like food deserts, large areas of a city that do not have healthy and reasonably priced access for food. Problems like mobility issues for seniors who can't access public transportation to get to a supermarket. Problems like the proliferation of fast food chains across our cities that have replaced local grocers. But with technology at our fingertips, everyone in the audience has a phone in their pocket, I would bet. We can all be engaged in changing this. There's an organization in the UK that uses a food redistribution app to connect surplus food from retailers to charities and community groups. There's a food bank in Ontario that has supported a pay-what-you-want program for folks living in food-insecure households. There are grocery collectives that are partnering with farmers so that families can get more affordable and healthy food on their table. We've done this too, right here in Calgary. After the food charity work, I started a mobile grocery store and a food rescue tech company that's partnering on home deliveries through an app because we know that anonymity is such an important part of food dignity. The days where we fill a plastic bag full of cans of food that have been gathering dust at the back of our pantries, and then taking that bag and placing it on our doorsteps for volunteers to pick up, should be relegated to a footnote. Now, all of this is part of an ecosystem that needs to work together and move forward together. It's one thing to deliver food from one place to the next, but what I'm hoping we move forward with is food access with dignity. I'm proud to be part of a team in Calgary today that works on dignified food access. To us, this means your food is affordable. Your food is convenient. It shows up right at your doorstep. Your food is culturally appropriate, and there is no proof of income required to shop. We do not need to ask families to prove how poor they are to access their basic human right. We need to give options to access nutritious food in the same ways we all do. This is our mobile grocery store here in Calgary. There are only a couple more examples of pop-up mobile grocery across North America. These are the types of community-led projects that I'm hoping everyone can see themselves shopping at and being a part of. These spaces provide more than food. It's about a platform for community development, providing a space for people to gather and socialize. It's an opportunity for local businesses to sell products, offering healthy options in neighborhoods that are surrounded by drive-thrus. In our work, we've heard of numerous examples of elderly individuals who have mobility issues that eat fast food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because there just aren't any easily accessible options for them. We've heard from Indigenous communities who spend hours driving to access basic needs. When I was growing up, my dad was in engineering school, and I remember my mom working 3 jobs, one at a grocery store so that she could put food on our table. We weren't in a position to waste food. My parents leaned on each other, our extended family, and drilled into us this notion that we all need to take care of each other. My dad was the best. My mom is the best. I take what they taught me into my work every single day. I said I wasn't going to cry. What we do and what we have been successful at is delivering healthy food to people where they live and where they can feed their families in a stress-free environment. But we are just one piece of a very big puzzle. We need to ensure that through technology, connectivity, urban planning, and political will, we see a future where folks don't go to bed hungry, where they aren't making this gut-wrenching decision of heating their homes or feeding their kids. This should not be a possibility. This should be a necessity. And we can't do this alone, though. I need everyone in the audience here to help and be part of this solution. Can you see a future where food rescue and food redirection are so integrated in our society, where we as citizens are supporting anti-food legislation as they have across the United States, France, the UK, and Germany? Can you see a future where technology tells us where we can redirect food, where volunteers have easy access to deliver that food to those in need, where technology perhaps acts as a marketplace for food access? Can you see a future where dignified food access is about planning our cities so that we are never more than walking distance to pick up healthy food? I can see a world where we do this together, where we don't work in silos, and where we are all part of the solution. I know in this audience alone, we have the will, the means, and the ability. Now let's follow those breadcrumbs and forge a better path together.